Hello, chronic illness warriors. I think I'm going to go with that over sleepy friends, even though sleepy friends rolls off the tongue really easy. Okay, today is what happens if I don't live on coffee and cookies. The text is available on the blog at goingbeyondcoping.com. It's not as I shoot this, but it will be by Wednesday night. Today's Wednesday, November 13th, and this video is scheduled to drop at 3 p.m. And then hopefully tonight I'll get the text onto the blog. But if I don't, subscribe and then you'll know when I do. Okay, today I want to talk. I'm really excited about this video because I was a hardcore don't talk to me about food person in my 30s. And yeah, I would have thrown a shoe at you if you suggested food would help me, not because of my sleepy stuff. It just really, it aggravated me. So I've been there and seen the other side. So that's why I'm doing this. If you're vehemently opposed to changing your diet, if you think it's bunk or foolish, you are definitely the right person to watch this. If you're curious about what kind of changes food can make in your life, definitely watching the right video. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about eliminating things, adding things in, and feeling good about it all. The feeling good about it all is super important. I've talked in my other videos about how narcolepsy medication turned my saliva to salt and ended up full-blown Sjogren's syndrome when the dust settled. I think I always had like a dormant Sjogren's because contact lenses like fused to my eyeballs within a half an hour of wearing them since I was in my 20s. But other than contact lenses, I never had trouble really with my eyes except now and again. And didn't have a problem with dry mouth or anywhere else really. Now it's been about 6 years, I think, since I took the medication. And with all the changes I've made in the last 6 years, I'm starting to get a little bit more saliva. Like if you watch my videos from when I started doing this, you'll notice a lot more like the clicking noise when I speak. And it's exciting for me. I gotta be honest. Having dry mouth is very common all across the board because a lot of medications cause dry mouth, and dry mouth leads to having dental problems and more bacteria in your mouth, and you're not flushing things out of your mouth as easily, and it affects your digestion. It affects everything because the saliva pre-digests your food and then it goes down into your stomach. So if you do have Sjogren's and you happen to be watching this and you don't already know, chewing your food for a very long time helps with that. Eating moisture-rich foods helps with that. Throw a little applesauce in with your dinner, or something that's going to give you some moisture while you eat. Having an illness when you already have an autoimmune disease can kick off a second or third or fourth or ninth autoimmune disease. So one of the biggest reasons to look at food once you already have a chronic illness is because getting sick can make you worse. It can give you a whole new devil to know. And it's not fun. So the healthier you can keep yourself outside of the things you can't permanently fix, the better your immune system has a chance of fighting for you and not against you. Because if you have an autoimmune disease, your immune system's already confused. So try not to confuse it more. Everyone has their own little meat suit that they come in, and there's no instruction manual for meat suits. So if you get a faulty one, like I did, you have to figure it out. Doctors can take you so far, and videos like this can take you so far, but most of the work in going beyond coping with chronic illness happens up here. And it's individual to your particular meat suit. So ask yourself, am I doing every simple thing that I can do to ease my symptoms? And yeah, get your nutrients. Nutrients are the building blocks of your body. I talked in yesterday's video a little bit about how food becomes you. And it does. So you want to make sure that you're putting good things inside of you because you don't want to confuse your immune system even more than it already is. We get a lot of weird recommendations, and depending on who you are as a person, you may react violently to some of them. I see it in the groups a lot. Like, if one more person suggests yoga, I'm going to punch him in the face. That's fairly common for people who have chronic illness. However, I will tell you that a lot of the things I used to get violent about, I do now, and they've benefited me. So even though you may not believe in essential oils as any kind of help for your symptoms, until you've actually used them, you have no idea what they're going to do for you. I had a 7-month TMJ flare where I couldn't open my mouth more than a half an inch, and the pain, it was intense, and I couldn't get my jaw muscles to relax. If you have TMJ, I highly recommend the YouTuber Motivational Doc. He's a chiropractor, and he teaches all these great self-massages that you can do on yourself. And so many of his videos have helped me learn more about my body and how it works and how to ease my suffering. So toward the end of that flare, my dear friend Lynn mailed me a bottle of turmeric CO2 oil. Ironically, I was working, I ended up working for an essential oils company down the road after that. It's called Warm Human, and we do essential oil solids, and they're more for the emotional benefits of feeling good about yourself and whatnot. So I wasn't looking at the essential oils as anything other than I smell really good. I love the lemongrass. You know, I don't like to use regular deodorant, and sometimes I don't smell so great. And freely admit it, I would just put some of that lemongrass here on my biceps, and it would smell good, and it would keep me from being self-conscious about stinking. And I loved it so much, I quit my job and went to go work for her. So yeah, warmhuman.com. Great little fun artwork on the tins, and you can take them with you everywhere, and they're not messy. There's a little plug for my job. Okay, even placebos can help you. If you think it's going to help you, it can help you. It doesn't mean it will, but it can. So I took the turmeric CO2 oil and mixed it with a little bit of olive oil, and I just rubbed it on my face like every day. And within, I think, 4 or 5 days, the flare, I was able to get on top of the flare. And between the pain relief I got from the oil and the massages that I learned from the Motivational Doc videos, I was able to end the flare. And I have been doing, they do like meditations for TMJ to keep you from clenching. I know TMJ is fairly common for us, so that's why I'm going into this on a food video. But one of the things it talks about is flattening your tongue and getting your tongue in between your back teeth, and then getting your jaw used to sitting like that so that you're not like this all the time, so that you actually learn how to relax your face. And it's really helped. I haven't had a flare since, and it's been over a year now. So, yay! Try everything you can. You just never know what's going to help you. Your mindset is important. You have to go into it willingly, and yeah. I made a note down here, and I don't understand it. That's the problem with having 9 disabling disorders. Yeah. So, oh, that's what it was. Okay. So, your mindset is really important for symptoms, and being right in your head and feeling good about yourself and what you're doing and your contribution to the world is really important. And if you have trouble with that, if you feel like you don't have enough friends, if you feel lonely, if you feel less than, if you feel judged by people, if you beat yourself up, if you're sleeping constantly, and those other things are going on, please just hit my channel and watch some of my videos, because I went through all of that. And getting right in my head and getting rid of my mental clutter changed so much in terms of going way beyond coping into, yeah, I got this, I can do this. um, I'm not a doctor, a mental health professional, or a nutritionist. So anything that you want to try, do your own due diligence. Don't just listen to me and start popping things, because that's irresponsible. Bottom line. Um, I've mentioned several times that medication nearly killed me. Seriously, it was really bad. And I'm not able to really take anything without side effects at this point. But in interest of full disclosure, I do use cannabis as medicine. So I don't want anyone to think I'm managing my 9 disorders with just food and thinking good thoughts. Cannabis has been a great medicine for me. It works during the day for my wakefulness and nausea and appetite and depression and anxiety, and it works at night on my movement disorders and keeping me in that deeper healing sleep and suppressing REM a little bit. And yeah, so I've been using cannabis as medicine every day for years. I haven't had any increase in my dose, and no side effects. Sometimes it does aggravate my mouth, the dry mouth, of course. But other than like having to lock up my kids' Doritos, I'm not having any side effects like I do with traditional medication. Um, you want to think outside the bottle, right? So I was using cannabis as medicine when all this crap started. After the medication made me super sick, it was the only thing I had. So I was already using it before I tried food. And all the changes came once I changed the food. So that's why this video is super important to me to get out there, because I was so opposed to even considering food. Clutter makes you choose junk food. The study, not by me, by actual people, the scientists, they did a study. So if you haven't already seen my video about getting rid of mental, physical, and digital clutter, I highly recommend that as well, because it does make a big, big difference. I also have a post on my blog at goingbeyondcoping.com. It's 11 tips for staying on an elimination type diet. And that's any kind of diet that you're going to try that's eliminating things for you. So the keto for narcolepsy, the Wahls protocol, the diabetes diet, the autoimmune paleo. Yeah, there's tons of them. So if you're eliminating something in an attempt to improve your symptoms, that's what's considered an elimination diet. I'm not talking about fads. Anything that you try, you want to make sure is for health reasons and you know what I mean? Like some people said the Atkins diet was super bad for you, but other people, they thrived on it. So just remember, each meat suit is individual, and what helps your symptoms might not help someone else's symptoms, which is why I'm talking about this in such broad strokes, because you just never know where you're going to fall. So I watched a video, I'll link it in the comments again. I linked it yesterday too, called Minding Your Mitochondria. I'm not going to get into all the details, but she went from a zero gravity wheelchair, choking on her dinner, struggling with MS, to riding a bicycle in 6 months. And she didn't do it with fancy products or expensive plans. She did it with food. And when I watched that, I thought, well, what if I got to lose at this point? I mean, I'm crying every morning. I would get up and I would sit on a heating pad and I would wrap myself in a heating blanket and I would just sob. I would rock and I would sob for a good 40 minutes to an hour every single day. I woke up feeling like I'd been picked up and dropped 100 times. Like someone had mounted my head on a barb spike, and every time I turned, it crunched into that spiky barb. And it was awful. I couldn't work more than 2 hours without needing a nap. It was really, really bad. So at that point, I was like, if I can help some of this, any of this, I got to give this a go. So the Wahls Protocol focuses on colorful fruits and vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, leafy greens, organic chicken, grass-fed beef, fish, organ meats, and fermented foods. Okay, I like to joke and call myself a half-ass guru because I get all this stuff and I apply it as far as I want to. So I'm not all in on anything really. I'm doing autoimmune paleo, but it's modified. I'm doing the Wim Hof breathing, but it's modified. I'm doing supplements, but it's modified. So I work with my meat suit, and I work up until the point where I'm happy with it. And so I'm okay with doing things half-assed in that regard. And I'm coping really well. I really am. I'm still taking my scheduled naps, and my pain's been pretty good. I had a bad week with a POTS flare, which I really think was connected to nutrients, because I had made this brilliant decision to have soup in the afternoon instead of my colorful fruits. And I usually eat like 2 cups of colorful fruits for my breakfast that I eat at lunchtime every day. And I wasn't getting those nutrients. I mean, granted, there were still nutrients in the soup that I was eating. It wasn't the same amount of variety, etc. So by the Wednesday of that week, I was just a mess. And that's why I couldn't get the video out until Saturday. So knowing your meat suit is important. I'm super stubborn and I'm not a big eater. And I don't like to drink water. Going to the bathroom is inconvenient for me, and I don't have that kind of time. So forcing myself to drink water is something that is a reality for me. I don't drink alcohol. It puts me to sleep. So yeah. I'm not good at recipes. So like I have to look and then look and then look, and I'm terrible with directions. If my GPS could talk, it would say, "Where the hell are you going?" Yeah, know thy limitations. So I abandoned the Wahls Protocol. I was feeling better, but not enough to keep doing it, and it was to me a lot of work and a lot of food. So from there, I tried paleo, and then from there, I tried autoimmune paleo. So autoimmune paleo, I'm pretty much just eating meat and vegetables and some grass-fed dairy. That's my diet every day. Yeah, I do have coffee, and I use grass-fed milk and raw sugar in it, and I have since I started all this. And I have my beloved chocolate chips that I'll talk about a little bit later. So autoimmune paleo is super strict. You cut everything out and then try to add things back in later to see what happens. And about 4 months in, I took an inventory and I had dropped 15 symptoms. And I didn't want to handwrite them all on the cards. So I kept my computer open so that I could read them off the text that I sent out this morning. So my biggest aggressors turned out to be nightshade, tomato, potato, peppers, eggplant, pumpkin, and food additives, especially gums, acids, soy, thickeners of any kind, I'm burping like almost instantly after I eat something with citric acid, xanthan gum, um, soy lecithin, any of those things in there, emulsifiers. Um, so I had eliminated those because I wasn't allowed to eat them. And that was part of the reason, by the way, that the Well's protocol didn't work for me, was because I was taking a container like this of bell peppers and just eating it every day. And my body no likey. So it wasn't as effective for that reason. And I know that now. Okay, so the symptoms that I dropped. My pain levels dropped from an 8-10 upon waking to a 2-3. I didn't have Cheerios for breakfast anymore. My acne rosacea, lifelong, it was an adult onset acne rosacea. That cleared up, and even the purple scarring went away. Uh, my burning scalp syndrome. I used to have this feeling like someone poured hot lava between my head and my skull, and I could act my scalp and my skull, and it actually felt hot to the touch. That went away. My voodoo doll pain. I used to get these pains where I feel like someone just stabbed me out of nowhere. So I used to joke, someone's got my voodoo doll. Put my voodoo doll down. Yeah, it helps to laugh about things. Became less clumsy and had less numbness in my hands, less brain fog, less sleep episodes at work, less restless leg syndrome. Um, that did come back again about a year ago, and someone recommended magnesium glycinate to me, and it got it right back in line. So if you look at the blog post, I link to all the things that I talk about later in the video for the adding things back in part. Okay, where was I? Oh, constant nausea eliminated. I never knew that nausea is a precursor for hunger. It's just like hunger pains. So some people, instead of getting grumble, grumble, grumble in their stomach, get nauseous. And it's really hard to eat when you feel nauseous. You just don't want anything in your mouth at all. So I actually help myself with that by making 2 cups of strong spearmint tea, and then I dumped that spearmint tea into a gallon of water, and I would, whenever I drank water, I would drink that mint water, and that really helped nip that low level nausea. And 4 months in, I actually got hunger pains back again, so I didn't have nausea for hunger response. Also, dehydration can give you a hunger response. So if you're constantly hungry, maybe you're dehydrated. Don't forget to look at that. Um, the gas. I have gas that travels up into my shoulders, and I used to have trouble with it every day, and now it's only when I eat something I'm not supposed to. Um, my biofilm was reduced, so after the saliva turned to salt, my biofilm was so thick I could literally scrape it off my teeth, and it accumulated super quickly. So that was a big hassle for me and uncomfortable and everything else. And so I was able to get rid of that siltiness in my saliva, which meant my saliva had thinned out a little bit, which meant I had more flow. So that was really good. I used to bend over when I brushed my teeth and my legs would give out. And I always thought it was cataplexy. And I was like, cataplexy is an emotional response. How can that make your knees give out? And someone pointed out to me that it's also a POTS response because I'm changing my posture, and that's what makes my legs give out. So that went away. My skin wasn't as dry, and I've only had 4, I wrote this a while ago, so less than 6 migraines since I started 4 years ago. And I used to get them regularly, really bad, regularly too. Yeah, all that just from food, from increasing the amount of nutrients I was eating in real food, buying organic whenever I could, buying regular whenever I couldn't, getting that grass-fed meat instead of regular grain-fed, what they give the feed cows, That makes a difference, because if you can't eat it, you can't eat anything that eats it. that that makes sense, right? I mean, there's got to be, if your cows are eating corn and corn cheeses off your body, then if you eat the cow that ate the corn, you're eating the corn. I mean, it's like second cousins, but it's true. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's true. I've tried it and seen how it affects my body. So, yeah, you gotta figure out what's the what for your own meat suit. Um, yeah, so in the beginning, it was super difficult to do this, to say no to eclairs. Oh God, I love eclairs. And caprese salad was something I had a couple times a week, and just all the things. And I do miss them. I still dream sometimes about eating eclairs, eating eclairs in my dreams. But I also know that when I eat an eclair, I get that gas up into my shoulders. I get that nausea. I get that fibro triggers just humming, and I don't want that for myself. I want to feel better, so I eat my plantain chips, and there's this one brand of chocolate chips, Guittard. They use sunflower lecithin instead of soy lecithin. Um, I can also eat soy-free chocolate. So, like, if I can find a chocolate that doesn't have food additives in it, I can eat that too. But these chocolate chips, um, they don't bother me. If they bothered me, I'd have to stop eating them, but they don't. And I'll be honest, a handful of chocolate chips helps me wake up if I need it. And I don't have the same sugar issues that other people have. I don't crash from sugar. Um, I can exist on a low level of sugar all day long, and I did for 41 years. That's all I ate was coffee and cookies practically. It was really, really bad about food from the time I was a child. So eating kale now is crazy to my former self. Like, I would never have believed you if you told me that I would eat 4 cups of vegetables every day, and kale would be included. I just would not have believed that. But do I want to have a boring diet, or do I want to be dying in pain every day and half asleep? Is it worth giving up those 15 symptoms to limit yourself? Heck yeah! It is for me. And the great thing about it is I eat so well every day that every now and again I can take my kid to Taco Tuesday and eat a couple hard shell tacos and not die from it. But that's every now and again. It's not on the regular. Um, yeah, got to build up your blocks again so that you can handle a taco every now and then. So some of the things that I added in, these are my now things that I'm doing, because I've tried a bunch of stuff in the past and used it until I didn't need it anymore, and try something else. Just got to keep that meat soup functioning. So I'm doing maca powder. This helps regulate my thyroid. I had a subclinical hypothyroidism and trouble with chronic urticaria in my skin. It also helps because I'm pushing 50 and heading into menopause. My mom had already gone through it at this age. So maca powder is an adaptogen. It doesn't give you hormone or take it away. It helps balance what you already have. There is at least one other person in the narcolepsy group who said she's getting great energy from the maca powder as well. Look it up. I got a link to the blog post will be added to these comments once it's posted. It's not there yet. But if you go to my blog, goingbeyondcoping.com, and type in any one of these items, it'll come up to a why I'm doing it and a link to my Amazon affiliates, where if you purchase the maca powder on Amazon through my link, I get a tiny little bit of money to help me keep running my website, etc. It's not a lot, believe me. And you still pay the same price. So it's really just for me getting you there. Collagen peptides. I started with my hive issue. All of these things I don't do the dosage of. So like the maca powder, I only do a half a teaspoon. Collagen peptides, only 1 scoop. And the reason for that is I'm a total empath. And if you identify as an empath, please know that you don't need a lot. You can get by with a little bit of anything, a little meditation, a little bit of medicine, a little bit of supplement. You don't need recommended dosages. And sometimes recommended dosages can make you worse. So always back down and see if it still benefits you. Titrate up and titrate down. Vitamin D, life-changing for me. Someone recommended that when I was going through a TMJ flare. And while it didn't help me end my TMJ flare, it did help my fibro pain. It gives you a little bit of deeper sleep. You want to take it at night. You want to get a good vitamin D. Like, I like the liquids without additives. This one has like a little bit of orange flavor or something in it, but there's no preservatives or anything in it. Vitamin B12, I just added this as a spray. It's helping my short-term memory like a lot. Like as I'm doing data entry at work, I don't have to look 18 times. I can only look once or twice. What's that next thing? I can't read it. Oh, magnesium glycinate. This is for restless leg. And if you have periodic limb movement disorder, my husband also has both of those, and we both take the magnesium glycinate, and it's helped both of us. For me, it's helped with those RLS episodes that happen right before I need to nap. Like as I get more tired, the restless leg would get worse and worse. And I was finding, because of my skin issue, I was doing the hoedown at work because the restless leg was kicking in because I was so sleep deprived. Turmeric CO2 oil, I already talked about that. And dirty mouth tooth powder. If you have dry mouth, either from meds or from Sjogren's, excuse me, it can really affect your teeth. So I didn't want fluoride, and I'm so sensitive to everything. I didn't want fluoride or additives in my toothpaste or any of my products, really. I wanted to get down as good as I could. And I'm not a super healthy person. I see what happens when I stop and then I try to add it in again. So I'm not saying don't wear products. I'm not saying don't eat food. I'm saying find out what aggravates you so you can get rid of it. So the Dirty Mouth tooth powder is really good. It's like a mineral clay. They've got a little monk fruit in there, some spearmint flavor. And it's like Comet for my teeth. I still do get biofilm. I have buildup like mad. Like I have to literally clean my teeth with a dental appliance because my stuff builds up daily. If I waited 6 months, you wouldn't be able to see my teeth anymore. So work for yourself. You gotta live in this meat suit for the rest of your life. So figure out every simple thing you can do to make yourself feel better. And once you start feeling better, you want to be very mindful of what I call the Vicodin effect. The Vicodin effect, for me, a lot of people with narcolepsy get a big boost of energy from opioids. So when I take a Vicodin, I feel like Superwoman. I'm in a great mood. I'm cleaning everything. I'm doing all the things I haven't been able to do for forever. I'm a rhinoceros. And then the Vicodin starts to wear off and I'm itching my face. My face itches like crazy. My whole body itches. And then I can't go to the bathroom for days. And that's the Vicodin effect. Once you start to feel good, if you start running around like a ricochet rabbit, you're gonna burn yourself out. Be a turtle. Slow and steady and win that race. The other thing I mentioned here is quitting and feeling invincible. So I have this strange thing where, and it's not just me, I've seen it in the groups, where I start something like the B12 spray. So I'm doing the B12 spray every morning, and I'm noticing that my data entry skills are improving, and I'm having better short-term memory. So I decide I can do it without the B12. And I just stop. And then a week later, I'm like, why can't I remember phone numbers anymore? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that really was helping me. And that is how I've made my way to everything. I do not like being dependent on anything to survive, because that thing you can't have access to it at one point and you're just going to suffer. So, yeah, I um, try to get off the thing as soon as I can. All the things on that list that I showed you, I've backed completely off of. And when the symptom came back, I went back on them, and I was able to correct that deficit again. So you got to figure out your meat suit. If you have narcolepsy, Gina Dennis runs madcapnarcolepsy.com. She is a workhorse of the highest order, works full time, and then still manages to put together an amazing group with thousands of people who have narcolepsy in it and help them see that this way she's modified the keto diet for narcolepsy can really help people. Like her son, and her mom all have narcolepsy, and they've all managed to reduce or get off medications. And I personally have seen tons of people get off meds with this. Um, I personally do autoimmune paleo because I have 9 disorders, and my experience has been that taking my naps helps my pain. So if I ever get to the point where I don't need the nap, then I would look at something like that, like delaying my naps. But narcolepsy is a segmented sleep disorder. So even if you're on something that's helping you top notch, you still might need a nap or two a day. What you want to do if you don't have narcolepsy, if you have something else, if you have fibro, if you have Sjogren's, if you have MS, if you have Parkinson's, or any of the other chronic illnesses that are out there, Google your illness plus diet and just see what's come up. People who have MS might be surprised to know that Dr. Walls pushed her MS into remission with just food. How many people know that? I mean, her TED Talk's been viewed like 3 million times, but unless you go looking for things, you're not going to find them. No one's going to magically knock on your door and say, hey, this will help you. You got to go look for it. So you can look in support groups. If you're not on Facebook, there are public support groups on Reddit that are anonymous. So reddit.com, no one knows who you are. You can join a support group for your illness. I'm sure there are websites out there that also have support groups you can join on the website. But you gotta go look. The stuff's not coming to you. You gotta go find it. Whenever I have new symptoms, I look at food. Have I been eating something I'm not supposed to be eating? Have I not been eating enough of what I'm supposed to be eating? Have I forgotten my supplements? Am I under a lot of stress? Are the people around me under a lot of stress? Where am I at with my lady cycle? Like, where are my hormones doing? What's my mood like? How do I feel? All those things add up to symptom management. You can't just say, I'm in pain and that's it. Like, you have to treat the whole person from top to bottom. And that's how you can get on top of things. So what happens if I don't live on coffee and cookies? I feel better. I mean, I'm sitting outside. Thanks to the Wim Hof breathing method, I'm sitting outside dressed like this. It's in the 50s out there. Sunny, but it's 50. It's cold. And I couldn't have done this a few years ago. I couldn't have done this time last year. And it only took 4 days. 4 days of doing this breathing exercise for 20 minutes fixed my temperature gauge in my hypothalamus. And I'll do a video about that at some point. If anybody wants specific videos, feel free to comment or send me a message. I usually just go with my gut if no one asks for anything. Someone had requested this one, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you made it all the way to the end here. So what happens if you don't uh, live on coffee and cookies? You have to just go find out. I appreciate you watching this, especially if you made it all the way to the end. It's 40 minutes. It's a long video. There's a lot of content in it. If you haven't already, hit the like button. I would really appreciate you doing that. The more people who like the video, the more people who need it will see it. And subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell if you want to be notified. I'm going to get into this more. I had been doing a daily email blast, and I'm finding that the emails are a little bit more challenging to put together than videos. So I'm still deciding which way I'm going to go with it. But I will figure it out like I do everything else. So that's it. I appreciate you watching this so much. Make it a great day. The choice is always yours.